Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a skill that, let's be honest, can sometimes feel like a total chore, academic referencing. But what if I told you it's actually your secret weapon for building a much stronger, way more convincing argument? We're going to flip the script on referencing today. All right? Let's dive in.
So let me ask you something. When you're writing a paper, how do you really prove your points? How do you show the person reading it that what you're saying isn't just your opinion, but that it's actually built on a solid foundation of real evidence and research? Well, the answer, as you've probably guessed, is all about good referencing.
You know, a really helpful way to think about this is that academic writing isn't you just talking into a void. It's actually a huge ongoing conversation, one that's been happening for years, sometimes even centuries. And when you reference something, you're basically just showing your reader who you're talking to in that conversation. You're giving a shout out to the other voices, the experts, the judges, the researchers that helped shape your own thinking.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. Why do we even have all these rules? I promise you, it's not just to make your life more difficult. The entire complicated seeming system really just boils down to two fundamental purposes. Yup, you heard that right. Just two. And honestly, if you can get your head around these two core ideas, the logic behind every single rule, every comma, every little detail in your citations, it'll all start to click into place.
And here's this fantastic analogy to help you remember. Think of referencing as both a shield and a map. First up, it's your shield. It's how you give credit where credit is due, acknowledging the work of others. This is what protects you from any whiff of plagiarism, because you're being super clear about which ideas are yours and which ones you've built upon. And second, it's a map for your reader. It gives them a clear path to find your sources so they can check your work or maybe even just dive deeper into a point that really interested them. A shield and a map. It's really that simple.
Okay, so we've got the why down. Now let's shift gears and get into the what, the specific system that you're going to need to use in your faculty.
So the system you'll be using is called a footnote referencing system, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. All the nitty-gritty details of your citations, the author, the year, the page number, they don't clutter up your main text. Instead, they get neatly tucked away in notes at the very bottom of the page, linked by a little number in your sentence. It keeps things looking clean.
So here's the bottom line. Your faculty's official style, the one you have to use, is based on the Stellenbosch Law Review Guidelines. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's the required format for every single assignment and tutorial you do. And don't forget, it's a footnote system.
And this is a super important heads up, especially if you're coming from another discipline. You might be used to styles like Harvard or APA, where you stick the author's name and the year in parentheses right in the middle of your sentence. You have to forget all of that here. Legal writing and its footnote system are a whole different ballgame, and trying to use another style is easily one of the most common mistakes people make.
Which, of course, brings us to the most practical question of all. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? How in the world do you decide what information belongs in your main text and what gets relegated to a footnote? A lot of people get tripped up by this, but there's actually a really clear principle to guide you. Here it is. The absolute key is to learn how to distinguish between the framework of your argument and the details that support it. Think of your main text as the skeleton, the essential bones of your argument. The footnotes, well, that's all the muscle and tissue that gives it real substance and proof. So let's break that down even further. What exactly counts as the framework, and what do we mean by the details? Let's get specific. And this table lays it out perfectly. In your main text, the framework, you're going to mention the big foundational sources that your whole legal argument is built on. We're talking about things like the Constitution, the actual names of legislation, and the names of important court cases. These are the main pillars. Then, down in your footnotes, the details, that's where you put the specific proof. That means your secondary sources like journal articles, the exact section or paragraph numbers you're referencing, and the full formal citation for a case. See the difference? The text makes the argument, the footnotes prove it. So let's circle all the way back to where we started. Now that you've seen how it all fits together, what do you think? Is referencing really just some tedious, box-ticking chore? Or is it maybe something more? Maybe, just maybe, it's the signature of a confident, credible scholar. Someone who isn't just making claims, but is proudly showing how they're taking part in that great, ongoing academic conversation. Something to think about for sure.